Hello and happy President's Day. During 24 of the past 100 years, the President of the United States was a descendant of one Elisha Hutchinson. Hutchinson is unknown today. We're not even sure how he looked like. This is his presumed portrait. Hutchinson was a member of the Governor's Council in colonial Massachusetts, but never a governor. This is why he is unknown today. But, as I reveal in my upcoming book, his importance is that in 1690 he led the issue of the first modern currency, paper money, backed not by gold, but only by being legal tender for taxes. You can see the underlined words and Hutchinson's leading signature. It happened when the colony was in a severe debt crisis due to a war with French Canada. Elisha Hutchinson was born in Boston in 1641. A couple of years after his grandmother, Anne Hutchinson, brought the young colony to the edge of civil war with her dissenting religious opinions. The episode is known to historians as the Antinomian Controversy. Elisha belonged to a mercantile middle-class family. He was also a merchant, and he married a merchant's daughter called Hannah Hawkins. One of their daughters, born in 1672, was also called Hannah. Skipping 5 generations who descended from her, we reach Harriet Eleanor Fay, who was born in Savannah, Georgia in 1829. Harriet married a priest from Rochester, New York, which, by the way, is where I went to graduate school. But more importantly, the priest's name was James Smith Bush. Their great-grandson was George Herbert Walker Bush, born in Massachusetts in 1924. His son was, of course, George W. Bush. When George H.W. Bush was 47 years old, something important happened in the history of money. It was 1971, and President Richard Nixon decided to temporarily suspend the United States commitment to convert dollars held by foreign central banks into gold held by the US. This was a dramatic move because this commitment was the anchor of the entire global monetary system since World War II. The US single-handedly took humanity off gold, which is something that no country in history could have ever done before. Since then, everyone's currency is merely legal tender paper money, just like the one that Elisha Hutchinson introduced to Massachusetts. It would have been appropriate for such a globally consequential change to be announced to the United Nations, and even more so, as the US ambassador to the UN was no other than George H.W. Bush, Hutchinson's descendant. But Nixon had mostly domestic politics in mind, so he announced it himself live on American television. With the 2 Bush presidents, so far we have 12 years in which the President of the United States was a descendant of Elisha Hutchinson. Now let's go back to Hutchinson's life. After his wife Hannah died during a child labor, he married a merchant's widow called Elizabeth Frick. The new couple begat Edward Hutchinson. Skipping 3 generations of Edward's descendants, we reach Catherine Robbins Lyman. She married a Massachusetts merchant, just like Hutchinson. His name was Warren Delano. You can see where this is going. They were the grandparents of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. One of FDR's first steps as president was to confiscate all private gold in the US as part of the policies aimed at ending the Great Depression. The gold was replaced by Federal Reserve notes. And here is the most striking similarity. Elisha Hutchinson put precious metal aside during a severe financial crisis and introduced legal tender paper money instead. His descendant, FDR, did the same. Moreover, Hutchinson was appointed head of a committee that injected the new currency to the economy in exchange for government bonds. Today we call this an open market purchase. And the committee that does that in the US today is called the Federal Open Market Committee. I therefore call Hutchinson's committee the Massachusetts Open Market Committee. It was the first in history, far ahead of its time. Now, guess when the Federal Open Market Committee was created? In 1935, under his descendant, FDR. With 12 years of FDR's presidency and 12 years of the Bush presidents, we can now narrow down the odd fact I started with. During 24 of the past 90 years, that's 27%, the president was a descendant of Elisha Hutchinson. One last fact, from both his parents, Elisha descended from medieval English kings. These are just a few of the many connections between English royalty and American presidents. What does it all mean? To me, it mostly means that the coincidences of history are fun. I don't see in it evidence of genetic transmission of leadership abilities or monetary creativity. I also don't see in it damning evidence of social immobility in Anglo-American society. The reason is that the lines of descent I showed are just a few among many. Every English king and Elisha Hutchinson had many more descendants who were not famous and maybe even poor. The same can surely be said about most ancestors of these American presidents. Finally, I would like to wish the American people on this President's Day that all of Hutchinson's children, Democrats and Republicans, will be more united. The world needs you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe or come back to my channel soon for more short videos regarding my upcoming book with the University of Chicago Press.